Okay, thank you, Deputy Mayor Quinn. All right, so jumping right into it, as far as I know, there were no letters of objection received regarding this file. If there were any, though, they'd be read here tonight. Overview of the application. So as mentioned, this is a rezoning from R3 to R4. It is to allow construction of what is now a 15-unit apartment building. The applicant has revised their proposal. Subject property is outlined here in blue on this aerial imagery. The property immediately to its left or north on Creaghan Avenue is currently under development by the same builder as an apartment. That did not need a rezoning, so this property is unique in that sense, I suppose. This is a closer view, so this picture would have been taken about 8 years ago when the properties were vacant and treed. You can see the houses along Radio Street that back onto the property on the right. So this property characteristics, it's 1,685 square meters in area. Access will be via Creaghan Avenue. There are municipal services available, including water, storm, and sewer. Current designation again is R3, medium density A. It's already designated by the plan as residential, so there's no need for a municipal plan amendment. Looking at the proposed use, again, it's been changed now to a 15-unit apartment building. The footprint is slightly altered from that which was first presented to the Planning Review and Adjustment Committee. We're now looking at a footprint of approximately 46 feet by 166. There were some changes to the site plan as well, so there will now be 15 parking spaces on site instead of being shared between the two properties. This would meet the requirement, and access will be from Creaghan Avenue once again. Any potential development on this property would be reviewed in the future when a building permit is applied for, subject to the medium density B zoning regulations should the rezoning be approved. And that's along with any potential conditions that council wishes to impose. Some photos of the area now. So this is the building currently under construction on the neighboring property. These were taken a couple months ago. Still some snow on the ground there. This is looking at Baisley Street at the end of Creaghan Avenue. This is the vacant property in question here. It's been cleared, looking through to Radio Street. This is looking again along Petrie, I believe, towards Radio Street. And here's the applicant's revised site plan. This site plan generally demonstrates compliance with the zoning bylaw with a few exceptions, which I'll get to. Looking at the planning considerations, again, it's designated residential already. There's no amendment needed to the plan designation. Creaghan Avenue is designated as a local road by the plan. Generally, the applicant's proposal aligns with some goals, policies, and proposals from the municipal plan, including goals for adequate and diverse housing by adding to the housing supply and offering different unit sizes and options for various demographics, increasing density in a key area of the city, close to the central Newcastle area. This can be seen as infill development, which is a positive, so making use of a property that is existing, has existing services, and will build up density in an area of the city that's already close to amenities. Of course, multi-unit housing, this goal is certainly met by having a 15-unit building, and also sustainable development and efficient land use, again, making use of services and streets that are already developed in the city. Looking at the zoning considerations now, so the current zoning designations of the area are shown on the map on the screen. So the darker orange zone, which represents the R3 zone, that's the current zoning of the subject property, highlighted in black. You can see that's a fairly common zone around these properties, but there is some R2, which is low density residential, also surrounding it. The reason for the rezoning request is that the proposed use is not permitted under the current zoning. So the R3 zone actually limits development to a single 10-unit building, so anything above that requires an upzoning, rezoning to R4. The R4 zone does allow for a few different types of uses, including multiple 24-unit apartment buildings. However, because of the size of the property, staff feel that it's unlikely to support more than 15 units as proposed. So there are a few non-compliances with the site plan that staff identified when comparing it to the R4 zone regulations, including for the rear yard, minimum side yard setback, and the maximum parking lot coverage. Also, a few potential variances needed for landscaped open space and parking lot design. So compliance with all zoning regulations will be verified further in the permitting process should the rezoning be approved and once a final site plan is received. So the applicant would then be guided to apply for variances as needed. Of course, Council can choose to utilize Section 59 of the Community Planning Act to place additional terms and conditions on any potential development approval. Looking at the surrounding area, the property is located in the Newcastle area of the city. It's generally a built-up area, built-up environment of the city surrounded by mixed uses, but primarily residential in the immediate area. The small inset map there that shows the wider Newcastle area, so the pink and the red zoning, that's getting more into the commercial and the downtown area. Of course, this is located just outside of that, so just north of King George Highway, in more of a residential area that's really mixed between low to medium density. Generally, the property is close to several businesses and the Miramichi Civic Center, which we've identified on the map here. Staff feel that the proposal would increase traffic noise and overall activity in the area that could cause some disruption for existing residents. And there could be objections, especially considering the neighboring building under construction by the same owner, which will add a further 8 units. So we did request comments on this application from the City of Miramichi Departments of Public Works and Engineering. They stated that the developer needs to confirm the size of service laterals required and to provide an updated drainage plan for the change in development. That's common for any larger multi-unit or commercial development. Once the service lateral sizing has been confirmed, connection fees will be provided. That would be for sewer and water. There were no additional comments received. So the views of the Planning Review and Adjustment Committee, I'll note that these were the same as the staff recommendation. So pursuant to Section 110(1) of the Community Planning Act, it is the view of the Planning Review and Adjustment Committee of the Greater Miramichi Regional Service Commission that the City of Miramichi amend Schedule A zoning map of the City of Miramichi zoning bylaw to change the zoning from medium density A R3 to medium density B R4 for the subject property described as PID 40552937, located on Creaghan Avenue with no civic address assigned in the city, to allow for the construction of a 15-unit apartment building, I should say, subject to the following term and condition pursuant to Section 59 of the Community Planning Act. 1, that a 4.21 meter variance be granted to the rear yard requirement of the R4 zone, a 0.57 meter variance to the side yard requirement on each side yard, and a 10% variance to the requirement for the maximum coverage by open parking areas, driveways, and vehicle movement areas of the R4 zone. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Adet. And moving on with this public hearing, there were no letters of objection received, so no presentations on this particular hearing. And I'll move to open the floor here to my council colleagues if they have any questions of Mr. Adet while he's here concerning this rezoning. Okay, and seeing none, next steps in the process, comments made here tonight will be considered by council moving forward. Only those councillors who are in attendance at this meeting shall be entitled to vote on third reading and enactment. Council will determine at a special council meeting on May 28th, 2024, whether to give second reading by title, reading in entirety, third reading by title, and enactment of bylaw number 110-32. So again, noting that special council meeting will be May 28th, 2024. And there being no further business at 6:12, this meeting is adjourned.